What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and today I'm off to the side because we are going to be wasting no time and looking straight at the TSN trade bait board. Now, this doesn't mean that these guys are guaranteed to get moved. It also doesn't guarantee that this is the top 15 guys that could get traded, but this is the first TSN trade bait of the spring. TSN posted it, I believe it was yesterday, and I figured we might as well take a dive into some of these names. You guys can watch the video, listen to my thoughts, and also check out the board, or you can pause and just look at the board, whatever you want to do. But if you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Join the squad. Let's get to 6,000 subscribers. Hockey content posted every single day, and I really do appreciate all the new faces here around the channel. So let's get right into it. So 15 names. First of all, at the bottom there, you see Milan Lucic from Edmonton. He's 30. That's a big contract with 4 years left at $6 million AAV. I can't see that contract being moved at this time unless they worked out a deal where they attach something to Lucic. It would have to be a pretty decent prospect and maybe some picks. I don't know how they would do it. It might not be too much depending on the team. They may just look for a really good prospect or a really good pick or a combination of both. But it remains to be seen what the market will be like, which teams are going to be able to take on cap and add prospects and value to it, because that's a 4-year deal. If it was like 2 years, it's a little bit more likely. But with 4 years, people are talking buyouts. That would be too expensive as well. Of course, my camera decided to die right away. But moving on to number 14, Colin Miller from Vegas, right-handed defenseman, 26 years old. He has a pretty favorable contract, 3 years left at just under $4 million at 3.88. Now, this is a name that's been kicked around a little bit. It started last season. Gerard Gallant kind of used him as a guy that was not being used in the playoffs. He was a healthy scratch. And a lot of people are confused a little bit and think that he has more potential to play like he did in the previous years. And the fact of the matter is a team's going to give him a shot, and if Vegas is willing to give him up, I'm sure there's teams that are going to be looking for him. At that price, it's pretty cheap. I'm not sure what his value would be, but it would kind of be a decent value. You got to remember, he's still pretty young. That contract's good, and again, right-handed shot defenseman, those usually get you a little bit. Number 13, Olli Mata, who's 24 years old. Again, another guy who's on a decent contract. Not the greatest, though. $4 million, 3 years left. Not the best defensively. Can put up some points, but maybe with another team, he will get a better shot. We've heard some people complain about the fact that he's not really a guy that you can trust in the defensive zone. But again, young enough where a team might take a shot at him and hope that he grows. 24 years old, he can still grow a little bit from where he is, and maybe they'll give him the space to just be an offensive guy and not have to worry too much by placing him with a defensive-minded partner. And number 12 is Nikita Zaitsev, another guy who is going to be very tough to move at that $4.5 million contract with 5 years remaining. But he's a right-handed shot defenseman who actually did pretty decent in the playoffs. A lot of people liked the Muzzin and Zaitsev pairing, and maybe that helps him get moved. But again, you're definitely having to attach a pick or a prospect or maybe a combination of both to get rid of that contract. I don't think it'll be anything too crazy, but it'll be at least significant enough that a team is going to want to pick up the phone. So Zaitsev would be tough to move, but he's definitely not a terrible defenseman. The guy actually proved that he can play much better like he did in the playoffs. He had maybe 1 or 2 rough games, but he was actually pretty steady with Jake Muzzin, which is crazy to say. Some Leaf fans are definitely going to disagree, but I've been a guy that's disagreed with this play, but he did all right. And number 11, Travis Hamonic, a guy that, this surprised me a little bit that he's on this list because he's a decent player for Calgary, but if they need to move out salary to bring in somebody else or to sign somebody else, that extra $3 million, just under $4 million, could help them out. And again, right-handed shot defenseman, 28 years old, can still put up some decent numbers and actually could provide some good durability on that back end. Obviously, he has to stay healthy, but if he can stay healthy, he can chew up some minutes for a team in the top 4. So Travis Hamonic could be a guy that gets moved. I haven't heard that name too much, but again, I'm not an insider, so we'll have to see. Number 10, another surprising name on here because he's an unrestricted free agent. Artemi Panarin, some people don't like the way I say it, but I've heard it said both ways. Whatever, 27 years old, 87 points. This guy's going to get paid. I can't see him doing a sign and trade. If that's something that's been around, I haven't heard about it. I haven't seen anything about it. He would definitely be doing Columbus a solid, but at this point, he doesn't have to. He's an unrestricted free agent. He can do what he wants. not much to say, just he's going to get paid in free agency. And number 9, Kevin Shattenkirk, another right-handed shot defenseman. You're seeing a pattern here. 28 points last season, $6.65 million cap hit for 2 years remaining. So, again, I'm not positive that a team is going to want to take on that contract. Maybe the Rangers, being a kind of a rebuild team, will chew up some money. But you got to remember, the Rangers are very interested in making a splash this offseason. Guys like Panarin could be a guy that the Rangers look at. We've heard about Erik Karlsson. So, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but the Rangers definitely want to move out that salary, because if they can, maybe they can add another big name. But Shattenkirk might attract some people, but I think, again, you're going to have to attach something. That contract's pretty rich. And number 8, Kyle Turris, another name that's been tossed around there quite a bit recently. 23 points. He had an off year. Turris can still perform at 29 years old, but $6 million for the next 5 years. You got to think there's going to be some regression, because we've already seen it this year. And if that continues, then the team that acquires him could be in some trouble. I happen to think that Nashville's going to stick with him. I don't think they're going to trade him, because there's a guy on this list that you can see that's coming up in a little bit that's probably more likely to be moved. At number 7, Connor Brown, a guy from the Toronto Maple Leafs that is almost guaranteed to be moved this offseason. 25 years old, 29 points, has a 20-goal and a 14-goal season. He can score, but at $2.1 million, the Leafs can't afford to have him on that third or fourth line again. They need to be able to bring in cheaper guys to pay guys like Mitch Marner, Janssen, Kapanen, and whoever else they need to bring in. They're tight to the cap. The Leafs need to move Connor Brown. It's almost a guarantee that he'll be moved. At number 6, Michael Frolik, again, a guy that's been a part of the rumors. $4.3 million with 1 year left. 31 years of age, 34 points. He can still get it done out there. Some team is going to bite on that, and Calgary, again, maybe doesn't feel like they're forced to move him. But I believe there was a trade request there that they wanted, that Frolik wanted to be moved. I could be wrong, but I think that this guy's going to get moved. They need money to pay other guys on the team, and that might also mean that they keep a guy like Hamonic around for that depth on defense, but Frolik is probably a guy that will get moved. Number 5, PK Subban, a big right-handed shot defenseman with a lot of controversy around him. It's not necessarily bad, but he's a bit of a character, a crazy guy out there. I happen to like him. 30 years old, 31 points last season, $9 million cap hit for 3 more seasons. That $9 million is the reason why Nashville wants to move on. They want to bring in a guy like Matt Duchene. It's been around in the rumors. So there's a big possibility that a guy like PK Subban gets moved. Nashville definitely needs that money. They want to be able to keep their own guys around while also bringing in a guy like Duchene possibly. It might be tough to move based off the fact that AAV is pretty high, but if a team wants to make a splash and they have the money to do it, Subban could be a guy that's brought on to help a team go to the next level offensively, because he can put up more points than 30 points. So we all know that. Next is Jason Zucker, left winger, 27 years old, 42 points, $5.5 million for the next 4 years. I think that that's a really great contract. Again, there could be some regression there, but I think Zucker's a guy that will probably keep producing no matter where he goes. This could be one of the bargain pickups, and I don't want to say bargain as if it's not going to cost a lot. I just think that Zucker could be an under-the-radar type of guy that gets moved. I would hope Minnesota would hold on to him, because I think that he's a good fit, but you never know. If Minnesota wants to retool, maybe rebuild a little bit, we've heard some stuff on Jared Spurgeon, who I'm surprised isn't on this list. Maybe Dumba, I'm not sure if they'd want to move him, but it's a possibility that Minnesota cleans house a little bit to move out some salary, start fresh with some other faces, and Zucker would definitely be a good pickup. Number 3, Ryan Callahan. Tampa Bay needs to clear space. Now, at 34 years of age, $5.8 million, 1 year left. I don't know if he has a no-move or a no-trade. It isn't listed here, but at the same time, you got to think Callahan's a guy that can get moved. They need to clear out space. We've heard the craziest rumors out there. Erik Karlsson possibly wanting to take a cut to play with Hedman in Tampa. I'll be making a full video on that, but Callahan being moved, that $5.5 million, they need that money. So depending on where they move him, it's $5.8 million. I'm looking at the next guy. $5.8 million. They need to clear that space even more. That's even more money, $300,000 more. So they need to make that move, and if they can. I mean, Tampa Bay's got some guys to sign, like Point, to an RFA contract, and depending on when you're watching this, I don't know if he's signed yet. Again, we're only right now Saturday, May 18th, so I'd be surprised, again, if you're watching this in the future, let's see what Tampa Bay can do. And number 2 is a guy that's definitely being talked about being moved, Jacob Trouba from Winnipeg. They are tight to the cap as well. Big right-handed shot defenseman, 25, 50 points, $5.5 million, but he's going to be getting a raise, probably around the $7 million range. This is a guy that definitely can put up points for you. He's not the best in his own end, but me personally, I think that he's a bit underrated in his own end. I think people maybe aren't giving him the best reviews. I think that he actually is a pretty solid guy, definitely good for a top 4. But with that raise, and of course my computer decides to turn off mid-video, but with that raise, teams may be willing to make a move here. I'm not sure how much he'll cost in a trade, but it's got to be quite a bit. And the team acquiring him in a trade would obviously want to know if he's going to sign there and probably work out a contract before he moves on. But Winnipeg could get quite a bit for him, and the fact of the matter is they've got guys that they need to move out because they need to sign guys like Laine, Connor. They got Ehlers onto a contract too. Like, they've got a lot of moves. Myers, I believe Scheifele's new deal is kicking in. We're gonna have to see what Winnipeg does. And number 1 currently on the TSN trade bait board is Phil Kessel. Phil the Thrill, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, 8 or 9 time scoring leader for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and a guy that can put up a ton of points in the playoffs, and we've seen it time and time again. $6.8 million cap hit for three more years, 82 points. That is a very good contract for 82 points. You're seeing guys getting paid that much for a less amount of points. So I think teams will definitely be knocking on the door for Phil Kessel. The Arizona Coyotes apparently are a team that could be rumored to go after him. I've been saying this since last season. That fit with Rick Tocchet, a guy that he likes being coached by, is the head coach in Arizona. I feel like that fit is there, and he can take that scoring to the next level in Arizona, add some depth to that team, definitely be their number 1 scorer. And I think that Phil Kessel's probably getting moved because Pittsburgh needs to make space and retool their roster a little bit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my input on the TSN trade bait board. Leave your suggestions for trades down below. Who's going to get moved? Who do you think isn't going to get traded? And yeah, make sure to subscribe, like, share if you'd like, do whatever you want. I just hope that you'll stick around for more videos. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Make sure to click that notification bell. Peace.